We're gonna play some 80 card SOULRIDER today. This is a deck I used to play a lot of. Like right as soon as like the day Ikora came out, I had almost exactly this deck together. There's been some updates throughout the year though. This used to be an Arkham's Astrolabe deck, and I used to play this deck all the time on stream. Really liked it. We're playing the Triomes now, kind of instead of the Astrolabes. We're up to 2 Eladamri's Call, which is another change. I'm trying out a Seasoned Pyromancer in the main deck, trying out Omnath in the main deck, which is probably great. You get Glasspool Mimic and Skyclave Apparition, which are both really big boons to this archetype. I thought about playing a Toski. I decided against it since we have so many walls that aren't attacking. But I'm really excited to play this deck again. It's one of my favorite decks ever. It's maybe a bit worse than both of those, but if you can take advantage of the Faithless Looting, then maybe it's good. Let's keep this hand, I think. Fisticuff, 8 months. Hope you're having a good day today. Appreciate you. Yeah, this is kind of one of the precursors to the Bant deck, Dr. Doom. This is a deck we used to play a lot of on stream back in the day. This 4-color variant that is a Soulherder deck. That is a creature-based mid-range deck, as compared to the Bant's Ephemerate deck, which is a control deck. Yeah, I'm not definitely very good. Possibly we should be playing more than just one. I think you still want to main deck the 4 Avalanche Riders though. Hello Spikeling, standing in for a chest today. I am Badaboosh. Badagaboosh. I can never say your name, but today we're playing 4-color Ephemerate in Modern. Buckle down, strap your chairs to your butts, and let out your howdiest yeehaw. Because this one is going to be a hell of a ride. So remember to slap that button, tickle the follow button. Oh my gosh. And always don't forget to use your Twitch promo on me, the one and only MTGO user, Aspiring Spike. Howdy's in chat. Hell yeah. Alright. Looks like Grixis Shadow probably. Dismembering my wall, that's fine. If they have a shadow, if we draw a white source, we get to Skyclave Apparition it. If we miss our land drop, we can Eladamri's Call for Glasspool Mimic to hit our land drop, but sadly Glasspool doesn't tap for white. There could be red-black that's just choosing to play Street Wraith and Lurrus in the main deck. Could be interesting. We did find a land. We can't get Sacred Foundry with this. Probably having to get Hallowed Fountain. Skyclave is such a good card. They do have an answer for it, but obviously downgrading the Shadow into an Illusion token is well worth the trouble. Man, Aghanim's Awakened and Snow-Covered Island. Very interesting. Yeah, I almost put Toski in the deck, but I decided not to since this deck plays so many walls that I think there's definitely some tension there. And then we also have Omnath is this really good value 4-drop to tutor up. As well as Resto and Avalanche Riders being really important to the deck as well, so decided against it. Yeah, I mean if they snap Dismember, this is gonna be the second time they've just, used a removal spell on a creature that drew me a card, which is pretty nice. Although they are at 4, so another copy of Death Shadow would be pretty terrifying. Good morning, Fruit Fly. See what we draw. There's Avalanche Riders. Pretty happy to just slam that and attack for 2, I think. Probably going after their Blood Crypt. Could go after their island. If we had a land to Ephemerate this in response to Kolagon's command, it would be so good. But what are we discarding? Probably Birds of Paradise. Yeah, it was fun yesterday, JK. I'm glad you had a good time. Thought seizes me down to 2 life. So another Avalanche Riders would be lethal if we get through here. Yeah, the snow's starting to melt. It started to melt yesterday, but then it kind of like froze over last night. But today's gonna be the first day that it's over freezing for a while and sunny. It's gonna be 38 for a bit, so should be the start of things turning around. I might just Eladamri's call for a wall here. Go Eladamri's call for Ice-Fang instead. I think the wall is pretty good though. Probably just want to get Wall of Omens because it's green for, or sorry, Wall of Blossoms because it's green for Chord of Calling. Might get lucky, draw a green or white land, and also cast one of my 1-drops, but am I playing on stream an event tomorrow? Yeah, I'm planning on playing tomorrow's Modern Challenge. I haven't actually looked in to see if there's like a PPTQ or PTQ or anything like that, but yep, I'm planning on streaming the challenge tomorrow. Call for a Goblin Guide. Yeah, that would have been good. Okay, another Kolaghan's Command. Guess we're discarding second Soulherder. Because here we could go Soulherder plus Ephemerate the Birds just to get a 2/2 to block their 1/1. Definitely a very low resource game. Nice, nice, good draw. Yeah, I think drawing that, I'm going to play Birds of Paradise. That way we could play Avalanche Riders next turn with Ephemerate up to protect it from a removal spell. And I'll just trade the Ice-Fang for the Snapcaster. Do you like the new commands from Strixhaven? Yes and no. I haven't really digested them. They seem neat, for sure. Pretty sure just jamming the Riders here. There we go. Cool game, cool game. What time is the Modern Challenge? 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, so about an hour after the usual start. So I probably want the Paths and the Thragtusk. So usually in this deck, in the matchups where you don't want Avalanche Riders, you do want Path to Exile. And even though this deck could play On Thin Ice instead of Path to Exile pretty easily, I think in decks with Eternal Witness Ephemerate, you still want to play Path because looping Path to Exile is still really nice. And then I'm going to cut the Acidic Slime for a Thragtusk. And then we could choose to play Scavenging Ooze potentially. It's probably kind of good, kind of medium. Anything glaring that needs to be cut. I could see maybe cutting the second Resto. Could see cutting the Venser. Although Venser is one of our few outs to Gurmag Angler. I guess we have Ice-Fang Path. I see maybe cutting a Wall. Wall doesn't block their creatures very well. Do you want Magus? No, Magus is... We're a 4-color deck. Magus of the Moon is for Tron decks and Titan decks, basically exclusively. This is not a deck that can just fairly Magus of the Moon somebody, but if Magus of the Moon is going to just come down and win you the game, then it's worth playing usually. I'm going to keep this. I'm a little disappointed that the Izzet command is so similar to Kolaghan's command. I wish that it was a little more... had a little bit more of its own identity, you know? You can see some number of Eldritch Evolution. I really dislike Eldritch Evolution in the decks with Soulherder and Ephemerate, since you want your creatures to stay in play so you can flicker them. You want your Wall of Omens and your, you know, your little dopey guys that draw a card to stay in play so you can start to flicker them. So yeah, I'm not a big fan, personally. But I see why you're interested in them. Morning Spike, what are the decks we'll play today? I'm kind of playing it a bit by ear. I have 3 decks prepped. I've got this deck, and then the blue-red Piracy Charm deck, and then I've got Grixis Dragon together too, the Grixis Sprite Dragon deck. And then I have a list, an updated Squirrel Blade list. I have an updated In Search for Greatness list as well that I'm kind of interested in trying. But it's possible I'll play one of these 3 decks twice. It's possible I'll play 5 leagues today, just kind of playing it by ear. Hopefully they have another discard spell. Hell yeah. Although it does go to the shadow. Always feels good. Gonna take 5 here, down to 13. We still have a Yorion we can grab. Never forget about your companion Yorion. I'm getting Path. I could definitely see getting Auriok Champion to play around Stubborn Denial, but it plays pretty poorly around another discard spell. And so I think we just want to go get Path, upkeep Path, and that ended up paying off pretty well for us. Yeah, the more magic the better for sure, but you know, it's important not to push yourself too much. Streaming can be tough when you just like do like, you know, 6 to 8 hours and don't take a break. But I do love it. Path over Condemn. You know what? Condemn might be better than Path. Oh, gross. Into Thoughtseize? Into Thoughtseize! Amazing! With 2 cards, they've just totally dealt with everything I had going on. My opponent has 1 card in their hand. I'm going to play the Lethal Attacker. I've always been pretty anti-Deputy of Detention in deck, more on it. Yeah, yes. The 4 Skyclave Apparition makes me want to play... Oh, no. Although we are playing the Staring game, because they can't attack into my... Oh, I should not have fetched here. Oh, I should not have fetched here. But they can't attack without me just being able to return to Cinder, you know? For now, at least. Yeah, but Deputy of Detention cleans up illusion tokens, so and especially because this deck is just going to be going like Flicker, Skyclave so many times with Soulherder that just like having a Deputy of Detention to tutor up and clean up illusions has been pretty nice. Yeah, they can't attack. We draw Ephemerate. I think I'm going to upkeep Ephemerate my Skyclave. You're hoping you could have Skyclaved your own wall. That would not have been a good play, right? Because then they get an attack. Oh, I guess we get the token, but you can only target your opponent's stuff. Am I running Hornet Sting for this situation? No, I decided against Hornet Sting. Gutshot would probably be better anyways. Opponent's got 1 card left in their hand, and they go in and just fetch and fall on their sword. Good showing for the deck in round 1. So now we get to play our favorite pet decks again. I'm going to keep this. We have all of our colors, which is kind of nice without the mana being too painful. We're playing against Lurrus at the Dream Den. It is a bit bad if we miss some lands. We do have some card draw on Wall of Blossoms, Ephemerate. And we can also Eladamri's Call for Glasspool Mimic to just hit a land drop. So Lurrus, Arid Mesa. Arid Mesa probably means burn. Looks like just red-black Scourge. They might take Skyclave. Skyclave's very good against them. They might take my 2-mana spell and Wall of Omens. Or sorry, Wall of Blossoms. They take the Eternal Witness, which is not really what I was expecting. We could just play a Triome here. We could just play a Triome, and that way, if they have a Scourge of the Skyclaves in their hand, they can't just cast it this turn. They did mull to 5. I kind of like that. I kind of like just making them deal me damage. That tends to be a good strategy in these matchups. Sculler. Interesting. So Mardu Lurrus. I can't cast Apparition. This is the Teamer Triome, not the Jeskai Triome. Next turn. Not sure what they're going to take. I think they should just take the Wall of Blossoms. Who's my favorite community character? It's a good question. They all work so well together. Probably Troy. It's hard not to just love Troy. Do you think community would be better if the characters had a chat alongside the show telling them all about their misplays? Yes, of course. Yeah, I like Britta a lot too. I know Britta gets a lot of, you know, a lot of crap, but I'm a big fan of Brita. Kind of going, playing the wall, then having Ephemerate plus bird up here. They do know about my Ephemerate. It's a good draw. We're doing good so far, G-Force. I think I've talked about this on stream, but me and my friends often joke about buying the rights for G-Force, which is a movie about gerbil spies, and making G-Force 2. And we've got like a whole plot planned out. Tough fatal push. Maybe it was better to hold the Ephemerate, just like discard Eladamri's Call. We could keep the Eladamri's Call and then like suit up Skyclave and Skyclave the Sculler, but I think it's just, we just have Omnath in our hand, you know what I mean? They do have an attack here. Yeah. Get him for 1. Am I just playing Glasspool Mimic to gain 4? I don't think so. I think somehow I mentally blocked out G-Force until just now. It's probably the best thing to do with the G-Force. Don't message me in the deck, just post it in the chat. I don't, people do message me in chat from time to time, and I get it, you know. I understand kind of, but I don't have my messages open. I barely ever check them anyways. Fatal push was kind of tough there. Be okay, hopefully. You know, Lurrus versus Yorion is definitely just classic Magic. Jethro, 10 months. I'm gonna say this every time I sub. Hell yeah. I'm gonna play Ice-Fang first. I think I just Skyclave their Sculler right now. Gonna fetch up the Triome. Or maybe I need to fetch up a basic here. Yeah, our mana's pretty good. We should be fetching basics for Ice-Fang. I thought about playing a Snow Dual land. I thought that was gonna be too bad in the 4-color deck. T-Row, thank you for Twitch Prime. There was an 80s cartoon called G-Force. I was unaware. I'm not a very, you know, cultured person. Do you think Narset could be played main deck, or is it a sideboard card? You can play it in the main deck of some decks. I think it's better as a sideboard card for most strategies, though. Especially in this metagame. Yeah, I mean, they have 3 choices. They can Kroxa, they can Lurrus, or they can sack Silent Clearing and then put Lurrus into their hand. But I think that they are the most likely to Kroxa. Although the problem is if they Kroxa, they get Skyclaved. But I think that's fine because then their Shadow gets to keep attacking for now. What's my What's my opinion on blue-white control post bans? I think Bant Ephemerate and some Jeskai variants show a lot of promise. I've seen people play blue-white decks that look very medium to me. And I think that you are incentivized to play 3 colors in this format. And I think that it's kind of difficult to build a perfect list right now since the metagame is kind of all over the place. But I think it's still a reasonable thing to play a control deck right now. I think I'm just taking 5. Kind of close though. Just like, I'd rather chump block later when this is going to be a bit bigger, I think. So if we cast Wall of Omens, we can't Skyclave and put Yorion into our hand. I think I'm going to still just cast this wall first. Alright, Ice-Fang is not quite death touching, but getting there. But has no cards in their hand, so playing around Temur Battle Rage seems like nonsense to me. Well, I guess I could have just attacked with this because we had Exalted. That would have been better. Not that I'm very likely to block with this. Did I say decks are incentivized to be 3-color? Does that go for just control or most modern decks? I'd say like most mid-range and control decks, yeah. But there are reasons to be 2 colors. I guess if we block like this, we're still dead to TBR. Yeah, I'm just not playing around TBR off the top. I refuse. Right, they can't cast Lurrus. We have 5 points of power, and they have 5 life total. 5 life points. Health points. If we draw a land, we can Yorion. If we draw a spell, we can cast a spell. They drew another Shadow. And put Lurrus into their hand. Okay, so they're dead to a removal spell. It's not a removal spell. But it's honestly like about as good. If not better. So we get to attack them for 2. Yorion. Get rid of both of their shadows. Draw 2 cards. And have a Yorion in play. Yeah, this is like maybe the best Yorion deck. Especially because it plays all these creature tutors, so you actually have a good sideboard instead of a usual Yorion sideboard, which is terrible. Always flicker the mana dorks too if you tap them, because you can draw Chord of Calling and you want them untapped for Chord of Calling. Yeah, this is a great Yorion deck. So these Path to Exiles in exchange for Avalanche Riders as usual, and I also usually cut the Thragtusk for the slime, or the slime for the Thragtusk. Could maybe see cutting the Kiki-Jiki. Kind of want the Scavenging Ooze again. Yeah, we could maybe do something like this. Yeah, I like this deck a lot too. This is one of my favorite decks in Modern, and I've been excited to play it again in this new metagame. I feel like the Skyclave Illusion should have flying to make the card more reasonable. What's my take on that? I think Skyclave is a really well designed card. I wouldn't change anything about it. At least for Modern, you know, maybe the card's not even that oppressive in Standard, from what I understand. I'm gonna keep this, I think. What are this deck's bad matchups? This deck has, I think Blue-Red Prowess is really tough because you can't Skyclave. That's probably the worst one. Heliod is probably, no, you can beat Infinite Life because you have Resto Kiki. Heliod's actually probably a good matchup. Like Skyclave, like all these Skyclaves are so good against Heliod, and then if they gain Infinite Life, you can just deal with their Infinite Life and make more Angels than they can gain life. In the like, I think Mono Green Tron and Titan decks are not great matchups, but we're hedging against that by main decking 4 copies of Avalanche Rider, so it's really not that bad of matchups against the big mana, because we main deck 4 Riders. I think if you sideboard them, you have bad matchup. Maybe I'm not supposed to play the bird into the Sacred Foundry there, but I think it's fine to just go ahead and take the trade when we're not using the mana anyways. And they also might just have Shocked for Shadow, and that looks like that's the case. Jund, no, Jund's a great matchup. If you're a Yorion deck, you have a good Jund matchup usually. Seems rough against Storm combo decks. Yeah, that's true. Although you do get to sideboard cards like Meddling Mage, Eidolon of Rhetoric, sometimes Aven Mindcensor, and then tutor them up pretty aggressively. So you at least have a plan. But you are right that those matchups are not great. So I'm going to go Wall of Omens and probably fetch for a Triumph if I don't draw something to play for 1 mana. BCS, thank you for redeeming a deck tech. Oh, I think I missed another deck tech earlier too. Sorry about that. If I missed your channel point redemption, just yell at me. Don't just yeah. So Devilish Gregory get to you first. Sorry. Hope you're still in the chat. Can't Skyclave Apparition a token? I'm just gonna start Soulherdering. So I think it's often good to go for Soulherder when your opponent's tapped out. Maybe I'll bring in Izzet Staticaster for game 3 if we go to game 3. Oh wow, what a draw. Okay, so this is from Devilish Greg. Humans Pod version 2. Interesting. I don't think I want to play a 5-drop. I also see that you're not playing Yawgmoth Hapatra, and I was loving Yawgmoth Hapatra. I think 4 Tribute Mage is too many, especially if you're not playing Yorion as a companion. I don't think you like need that many copies of Pyro Heroes in your deck. I also think you really want to play Aether Vial. Aether Vial I think is really good with Pyre, really good in a deck with 33 value creatures. This is definitely an Aether Vial deck. I would say Maja is probably not very good, but maybe it is. I think Orzhov Pontiff is a sideboard card, not a main deck card, and possibly not a card you want to include at all. Watcher for Tomorrow is okay. Acquisitions Expert is okay as well. It's actually something that's interesting to test. I don't think you want more than 1 copy of Charming Prince, I think, as a tutor target. And you definitely want a Champion of the Parish if you're going to play Ranger Captain. I think this mana base seems fine. I would play the land we were playing. I can't remember the name, but it taps for a colorless, or you can tap a creature to make a mana of any color and tap it, which would be good. I think Judith is more of a main deck. Judith and General Kudra are more of main deck cards. Like, what are you siding these in against? You know what I mean? Fifth and Renegade's good sideboard card. Necromancer is also a main deck card. Main deck Necromancer for sure. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the deck. Sorry, Lamp Bear, Scoop 'em Up, thank you for your subscriptions as well. Got to get to everything. And then BCS Deck Tech too. 4-color Saheeli. Talked about the 4-color Saheeli yesterday. It's interesting that Lightning Helix is your removal spell of choice. I'm not sure if that's the best call, but I understand the thought process. Hold on, let me choose this land here. I think I'm getting Plains into Triome. I know this Ice-Fang, but I don't think the Ice-Fang Death Touch is going to be very relevant. Oh wow, Deputy of Detention. And they can't Fatal Push it either, they have to have Dismember. Well, let's play that here. Before they can respond to the trigger, which does fizzle it. I guess they could have Fatal Pushed the token. Yeah, I'm not sure that Lightning Helix is the best plan. I really like Wall of Blossoms and Seasoned Pyromancer. I think that both of those make a ton of sense to me, so big thumbs up to that. I don't like the Ghost Quarter in the main deck. I understand why you want it to go with Ren and 6, but I think Ghost Quarter in your Omnath deck is probably going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. Also, like, not great with... I guess you can maybe Abundant Growth it. I probably just would not play it. I might play 4 Ren and 6 because you are an 80-card deck. 3 is also okay. Again, not sure about Lightning Helix, especially because you're an 80-card deck. I mean, you do have Walls and Ice-Fangs to deal with your opponent's creatures. I would just try to see how this feels. Like, obviously, this competes with Bolt and Path too. And I see that you have Path in the sideboard, which I like a lot. I don't like just two Cleansing Wildfires in the sideboard of Yorion decks to try to beat big mana. It's just not going to work. You can maybe play Alpine Moon as a more efficient sideboard card. But just 2 random Wildfires is not going to do very much for you. I think you want a more focused sideboard. I think and if you think like your Prowess matchups are bad, try to focus the Prowess matchups. And so maybe you could play the Madcap Experiment package in the sideboard. I think that would be better than Kitchen Finks. I think Elder Gargaroth is better than Kitchen Finks. I don't like Kitchen Finks. You could also maybe try to make the mana work and play Skyclave Apparition in your deck. You do have synergies with it, but Skyclave Apparition I do think would be really tough on the mana for whatever that's worth. Do I want to Eladamri's Call here? I think I'm just going to Ice-Fang. Well, I think my opponent may just concede to Thragtusk, Ephemerate Thragtusk. Alright, those are my thoughts on the deck. Lamp, thank you for 2 months in a row. Sorry I'm so behind on everything, guys. Appreciate your patience. Well, we are 2-0, 4-0, playing both times against Red-Black X Shadow, Grixis Shadow into Mardu Shadow. At least I haven't been seeing it. I think it might be a good deck, but it's just definitely not so popular that I would put it in Tier 1. And I talk about this a lot too. This is probably good to say, but I really when I'm talking about tier lists, when I'm talking about what I think is at the top of the metagame, I'm really talking about what is popular and what is being played, not so much necessarily what the best deck to play is. And I think it's an important distinction there. Interesting. So this is one of the more mid-rangey red decks. Obviously, mulling to 5 against a red deck is pretty tough in this kind of matchup. We may still be able to just pull out of it, but we'll see. Do you think a dragon tempo control is possible? 4 Sprite Dragon, 4 Gold Spy Dragon with Sumgar Scorn? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. It sounds really fun. I've been thinking about Goldspan Dragon a bit. I think you kind of, it almost seems like you want like a 9th dragon. And nobody say the word Ojutai, please, of course. Lava Dart Crash Through revealed. But like if there somehow is another playable dragon, like, and when I say playable, I mean like this is a good card to put in your modern deck that's not 5 mana, because I think you can play 4 or 5 mana dragons maybe, and like especially because Goldspan works really well with Silumgar Scorn. And Sprite Dragon is probably good in just like every deck, of course, but it's like you gotta have another modern playable dragon. Maybe you can get away with 8, but I feel like you'd really want like 9 or 10 in a perfect world. Yeah, I mean you could play the 4 mana Nicol Bolas. It makes your mana a lot worse, and that card is also, I think, quite medium. All right, we're dead to Lava Dart. Dead to Lava Dart. 3rd red deck in a row. Could that Shapeshifter from Kaldheim work? Which one? Which one? Definitely has not been the metagame for the land destruction, but also it's whenever you play against Tron or Amulet, you just are unfavored unless you main deck these cards, in my opinion. I think this is how I like to sideboard against mono red. It's been a while, but I feel like I've still got the muscle memory with the deck. This looks really good to me. Rojo, Plantos, redeem Pet Athena. Alright, I will go in Pet her. I feel bad, because Athena's been like kind of hibernating in the cold weather, and she just is sleeping harder than she's ever had, so she hasn't really been in here. But I'll go Pet her now. Let's keep this. Kind of awkward mana, because we just have the Temur Triumph, not the Jeskai one, but it's fine. Athena has been pet. Doing it Sacred Foundry or Temple Garden? I think Temple Garden, right? We've got the Ewid in our hand. We already have 1 red mana, and you only really need 1 red mana for like Omnath post board. Skyclave Apparition is shooting in price right now. Any particular reason you can think of? The Bant Ephemerate control that I have built, I think, is one of the best decks in the format. And Skyclave Up is also just like very good in this metagame, I think. So it's like a combination of that, just Skyclave being good, and then I think the Bant deck that I play is popular too. Yeah, I think I'll cash in Wall of Omens for 4 life. Seems like something I'm interested in doing. Yeah, Skyclave is just a great card. And also, Not that I know very much about anything, especially finance related, but because it has the name Skyclave in it, it is harder to reprint because this is a name tied to a specific location in the Magic universe. So it's not like Skyclave Apparition is going to show up in future standard sets that don't take place on Zendikar. Knight is pretty good, but if we gain 4 life, it's going to die to Lava Dart. So I think we're going to go Islands, Deputy their Illusion token, and hold up Ephemerates. Is it an established card in top tier decks? I mean, there aren't really top tier decks at the moment. I mean, maybe that's not entirely true, but the metagame is not defined at all. People are still just brewing and playing what they want, largely, and so I would say no, but people are definitely trying it out, and the card is like well positioned in various white decks. I'd say most white decks are pretty interested in trying it. That could be printed in a core set, yeah. Bedlam Reveler is very scary. We're pretty dead here. Didn't ban to Ephemerate lose a lot with Uro and Sanctuary ban? It didn't lose more than other control decks where losing Uro was tough, but the deck definitely still survives, and I played it this week and it felt great, and I know that the deck is popular. People like it. Probably... I guess we could maybe go Eternal Witness, get back Wall, and play Wall to have a blocker for the Reveler this turn. Maybe that's what's important here. Can't really go for Ephemerate with Double Dart in my opponent's graveyard. Why not eat Reveler with Deputy? You can't do that, I think. If you Deputy Reveler and your Deputy ever dies, I feel like you just lose the game. Like, yeah, they would immediately, yeah. Well, maybe it would be good against exactly another Reveler in the hand to do that, huh? Dead though. Alright, feels bad going to the 4th match. Still 2-1, still feeling good. I think we're getting Breeding Pool here. Yeah, Stonehorn Dignitary. I don't know. Stonehorn Dignitary does die against a lot of the red decks, and so 4-mana Fog doesn't necessarily seem better than cards like Omnath, you know? But maybe it'd be good. Am I ever not feeling good about a deck? I don't usually play decks that I don't feel good about, you know? You are right. I do a lot of thought before the stream, and I don't often play decks that I'm not pretty confident in, but it does happen sometimes. Thanks, Greaves. Appreciate you coming back. Sultai with main deck Feed the Swarm? Is this Sultai Shadow? Main deck Feed the Swarm is kind of wild to me. I'm gonna main phase Ice-Fang. Thank you, Screeves. And then get Temur Triome? Mill, wow. Mill with main deck Feed the Swarm. And we are an 80 card deck, which is usually pretty nice against Mill. Why is Skyclave good? If it's removed, the opponent gets a token, sort of like to Deputy of Detention, effects like 1-for-1 exchange. Not exactly, right? Because the token is going to be of lower quality usually than whatever your hold on, let me think what I'm getting here. I think Stomping Ground. The tokens be of lower quality than whatever you're killing with it. Or sorry, than whatever the Skyclave would get. And so there are a lot of ways to invalidate that token with cards like Teferi Time Raveler. I think I'm going to play the Slime here because I kind of want to start flickering it. We could also go Skyclave plus Ice-Fang. It's like, yeah. You can invalidate the token pretty well with cards like Teferi Time Raveler. The Wall of Blossoms, Wall of Omens makes the tokens very often not very impactful at all. And so if you can build your deck with Teferi and Walls and Ice-Fangs, it's pretty easy to turn this into a really powerful, efficient 2-for-1. And has tons of synergy with Ephemerate, Restoration Angel, Soulherder, cards like that. As we might see here. Although, am I going to Skyclave Heejin Crab this turn? I think I am going to. We could main phase Ice-Fang to try to hit a land drop, but if they play another Mesmeric Orb, I don't think I want to play the Ice-Fang here. It seemed like a snap decision to hit Orb over Island. That decision went easy for me. Yeah, we definitely hit Orb over Island, but the decision is, do we Skyclave the Orb and play Ice-Fang, or do we Acidic Slime the Orb and be able to flicker it next turn? Yeah, we weren't deciding whether or not to hit the Island or not. Opponent casts Visions of Beyond, drawing 3. It's a lot of card. Why do you choose to play the 80 card, which I'm a fan of, instead of 61 that gets to play Force of Negation? I think this version is better. I know that's maybe a crappy answer, but this version has a ton more card advantage, and I think if you play the Avalanche Riders, those are good in the matchups that you would want Force of Negation in, which is like mostly like the Tron variants, and good against a lot of combo decks too. And this is also like the best Yorion deck in Modern, in my opinion, because the biggest problem with Yorion decks is that your sideboards are bad, because you have a hard time London mulliganing for the cards you need in specific matchups. But in this deck, you play a lot of cards that are good in specific matchups, and you main deck 6 tutors for them, so you can find your sideboard cards more easily. And Yorion is also incredibly powerful in this deck too. Extra plate my Kiki-Jiki. Well, I only have one Kiki-Jiki in the deck. Is it better versus Mill? Yes. This deck is better against Mill than the 60 card version. Yeah. Mill usually main decks Extra plate and Surgical. Although it's also, their version's a bit weird. I don't really understand main deck Feed the Swarm. Thanks, Bizarro. Appreciate the words of encouragement. I think we're playing Wall of Omens first, because we're gonna play Soulherder too, and so if we draw like an Ephemerate to protect the Soulherder, this is the best sequence. Feels good. No green for Veil. Is green for Veil? No. You can see the deck. This deck does not play Veil of Summer though. I think Veil of Summer is bad in Yorion sideboards where, again, your sideboard is like really taxed. It's really hard to have all the cards you need for every matchup. So if you play cards like Veil of Summer, which like are just not necessary to win your bad matchups usually, I think you're hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself. Oh, you mean in our opponent's deck? I don't know what the green 4 is in our opponent's deck. Right, they did not end up having a... I guess they could still have Fatal Push, but they can't push the Slime. But we just turned on Revolt for them, yeah. This is fine. I mean, yeah, if they're playing green, like, they have answers to enchantments, right? Why would they play Feed the Swarm? Field of Ruin me. I mean, how many traps can they have? I think I'm going to fail to find. I think that the one card in my library is probably more relevant than me finding a land here. Fatal Push Skyclave, okay. So I guess they're not dead this turn. They do have a trap as well. Just one. Copy. Yeah, so we're not killing them this turn, so I'll flicker the slime. Because we can't, yeah, we're not killing them this turn. Mr. Slipper, 1 year in a row. Welcome back, buddy. Happy anniversary. Still have a healthy 28 cards in our library. Can't really imagine my opponent getting out of this. Even if they have Mesmeric Orb, it's just not enough. Yeah. So playing against Mill. Knight of Autumn's probably okay. Don't really think there's much I'd want to name with Meddling Mage. So I probably want to cut the Auriok Champion for Knight of Autumn. Everything else seems okay to me. One card we haven't really been drawing is our Chord of Callings. How would I think about the choice between this and Bant Ephemerate? I'm not sure. This deck is better if Big Mana is popular, because that's definitely a matchup where Bant Ephemerate struggles. It's against like Tron and Titan variants. But this deck has a reasonable time with the main deck land destruction. And the mana dorks are really good in those matchups too. But the Bant deck is better against the more aggressive decks, which I think are popular right now. I think Bant is really good against basically every Swiftspear deck. I guess we keep this. Squid Squad, continue gifted sub. Love to see that message. Love to see the continuing the gifted sub message. Ruin Crab. Is Skew's not a card versus Mill? I don't think so. It's like very mana. Maybe it is good actually. I didn't really think hard enough about it. I guess it'd be fine. It's still very slow, but probably would be fine to bring in. Yeah. Well, we'll see how many traps they have. I'm going to fetch on my turn here. Just to give them one less draw at a potential trap. I think we're going to play Ice-Fang before Eladamri's Call. Might just be Eladamri's Calling for Kiki-Jiki. With the Giver of Runes, like, they have to have counterspell. Oh, well, never mind. Shouldn't you fetch turn 1 to give him less time to draw trap? Probably, yeah. Probably, yeah. Yeah, we can still get... We have one more Witness left in the deck, because they did actually mill one of those two. They get a basic Swamp, so I feel like they're probably casting, like, Extirpate on Kiki-Jiki again. And the other Witness is gone. Still have 41 cards left in our library. Maybe I'll just Eladamri's Call for Deputy of Detention. No, that's also in the graveyard. Jeez. Come on, opponent. Leave me with something. I mean, before fetch lands in their hand, they're just going to get to use their traps when they draw them. Knight of Autumn. A Surgical Chord of Calling in my draw step. Fine. We could just play Knight of Autumn as a 4/3 and start beating down. It's possibly into Restoration Angel. I think that's probably pretty good. So 37 cards in our library. Thank you, Yorion. Fair enough. Does this change my strategy? I don't think so. think I'm still just going to play this Knight. They only have one card left in their hand. 3 mana 4/3, pretty good. It's above rate. Now we don't have a ton of like super valuable 2 mana creatures to tutor for. Field of Ruin's not bad for them here. They also have Lurrus to put into their hand. Down to 23 cards in library. Down to 13. They've got no cards left though. We also build over our Seasoned Pyromancer for value. I'm not... I guess I should have looked. I should have looked before I played my land if we have fetchable land targets left. We do. It's lucky. And I think I am okay if they chump block with my Knight, so I think I'm just going to attack with everybody. And they have a free block here, which is fine. Maybe better to leave the Giver back, since that's the case. 5, 6, 7. Opponent goes up to 96 life. Alright. Good top deck. Good top deck opponent. Oh my gosh, it's so much life. Yeah, I guess we can bring in the Ooze. I think that's good. No, we maybe could bring in Magus, but the thing is, I think you only should bring in Magus against decks where Magus is going to win you the game, like the big mana decks where like, we're a 4-color deck and we have Skyclave four Skyclave Apparitions. Like Magus of the Moon is just not a card that you can bring in just to like get your 3-color opponent. This is not that kind of deck. I guess we keep this. Mindcensor? I mean, if you're going to play Mindcensor just against decks that just have fetch lands, then I think you should just main deck not Mindcensor probably. I think we could bring in a couple extra cards, and you're not wrong that Mindcensor has text in this matchup, but I think that's just not really where I want to be with the card. So Soulherder plus Skyclave is pretty nice. Charming Prince to scry 2. We can Eladamri's Call, of course, are our options. I kind of want to Eladamri's Call for Avalanche Rider off of Sacred Foundry here. Oh no, I have to get Stomping Ground. No, I have to get whites. It's awkward. I guess I just need to get Temple Garden then. I want to do this main phase just in case they draw a trap. Yeah, they already had 1. Do they have 2? Doesn't look like they have 2. So we can still get Avalanche Riders and just try to draw a red source. Because that would be really good to go Soulherder into the Riders. Maybe a bit safer to get Vincer though. Could also get like Scavenging Ooze to be a big creature. Could just get Eternal Witness. Kind of a tough spot. Could get a second Skyclave, but we have Soulherder to flicker the Skyclave. Could get Glasspool Mimic. Make sure we have a land. So many options. I'm gonna get Vincer. Witness would be fine too, I think. But like Soulherder into Vincer, I think is comparable to Avalanche Riders and like a bit safer. Yeah, bring in Magus of the Moon, 5-head. Alright, they could have Drowned in the Lock here. We'll take our beats if they do. Good thing that they don't, of course. We just did a pet Athena, and she's just not in the room either. So if we could get a redemption on that potentially until she comes back, or until until she comes in for the first time. So I just got up and pet her. Oh, they milled my untapped red sources. I'll hold up the Venser. They do know about this Venser. Yeah, actually, they just play Lurrus. It's not so bad for us. And they know about the Venser, so if they have like Dispute or something, holding up the Venser plays like right into it where we can. Oh, they drew another trap. Gross. $35 cards in the library now. Another crab. They played Overgrown Tomb instead of the Darkslick Shore, so they must have a green card that they want to play. I feel like their green cards are removal spells, so I'm not sure what that would be. I mean, if they top decked another trap, good for them, right? Last fetchable land. Suppose we need to attack first, because these both come back on instep. Yeah, most of the green cards have to be, removal, so. So I'm going to go flicker the Skyclave and flicker the Venser with the Soulherder bouncing their Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, I like Mardu Shadow a lot too. It's a cool deck. Do you want to bounce the Illusion token actually? I don't think so. It's just a 1/1. Soulherder first week of an extra counter. Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, it's been a while since I played with the card. We still have 30 cards in our library. This keeps them off of like anything like Damnation, and next turn if we can resolve Acidic Slime, we get to kill 2 things. We know that they have Darkslick Shores, Overgrown Tomb, and Lurrus in hand. Still playing, so I guess they have another green removal spell. Must be an Assassin's Trophy. They declined to use the ability. We don't have basics left in our deck. And they could have drawn another trap, which would be bad for us. Ooze is interesting. Ooze could maybe play around another copy of Crypt Incursion kind of well, but it's probably better to just play the slime. We know our opponent has another blue source in Darkslick Shores in their hand, so I think I'm just going to slime their Tomb. This also plays around Damnation, which I think is relevant. Yeah, we're not cutting them off blue, but cutting them off green seems possible here. We do have, we do have lethal if they don't have Crypt Incursion, or I mean, we beat a removal spell. They're just playing Lurrus to block, so we can put them to 1 here if we don't draw a removal spell or an Ephemerate. We did, so we win. Awesome. Should have tapped the fountain, but they're dead, so it doesn't matter. Cool, exciting game. Exciting game. Pretty close for playing against Mill with Yorion. We advanced to 3-1. Would be nice to get a 4-1. We lost to Mono Red Prowess. We beat Grixis Shadow, and we beat Mardu. And we also have the land destruction plan. Sometimes wins those matchups too. Wooded Foothills, Steam Vents, probably Blue-Red Prowess, yeah. 4 Swift Spear decks. This is a Monastery Mentor metagame, guys. Did I look into Bant Eldrazi more last night? Not really. I don't think that it's good at the moment. I would like for it to be good. I do enjoy playing the deck. Ooh, Lava Dart. But it appears my opponent's kept a 1-lander. I think I'm still playing Hierarch. Like, just make them have another 1-mana removal spell. I don't think they're going to sack this Dart. Feelings on Blue-Red Breach? Probably a good deck. I haven't tried it yet, although it's a deck I like. Picard on the bottom. Still no second land. That's unlucky for them. Alright, so here I'm going to go Eladamri's Call for the main deck Auriok Champion. Doesn't have red mana to Riders there, 1 land, sadly. But that was good enough. What are the best ways to combat all the burn and prowess going around? The thing is, like, the cards that are good against prowess are not that good, or are not that good against burn, and vice versa. Where against prowess, like, removal spells are really good, and life gain is much worse, and life gain is much better against burn than removal spells. So that's part of the reason I think why these red decks are succeeding. That being said, I think that's also why I really like the Madcap Experiment plan against these decks, because that package, the Madcaps and Empyreans, are very good against both variants. Alright, so against the red decks, we want to cut the Avalanche Riders for Path to Exiles, the Acidic Slime. I think this is usually a graphical bug when it won't let you put a card in. But I believe that the Path to Exile is actually in the deck, but doesn't appear to be in the deck. I usually cut the Kiki-Jiki for Eidolon, second Resto for Forge-Tender. Can maybe cut second Soulherder. But let me cut the Vincer for an Ooze instead. And I think I like the look of this. Although Vincer can deal with Stormwing Entity kind of well. It's the only way we can Chord of Calling for an answer to Stormwing Entity. We've got Ice-Fang, we've got Path. We have Deputy. Okay, with the Deputy, I'll leave the Vincer out. It's not. Oh, well, we can look at the sideboard right here. Yeah, see, there's no copies of Path to Exile on the sideboard. Yeah, it's something that just pops up occasionally. It's definitely weird. I don't really know why it happens. I just know that it does happen. Probably want to lead on Giver of Runes. It's pretty good against the Lava Dart deck, in theory. Playing that card later. Yeah, I guess we can't block with the Giver. They just do play a decent amount of 0 mana cards. Maybe I want to play Ice-Fang this turn so I can also play Ice-Fang next turn, and both Fangs will have Death Touch, potentially with Giver of Runes protection. I see the new Bring to Light Omnath list posted by Doomswitch and Doomwake. Do I like those lists? I did see them. They seem medium to me. They're probably fine. Vapor Snag, yikes. I might be having to hope for some Game 3 success here. Oh, we can't even Deputy of Detention. Yikes, 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 yikes. So we play Wall plus Hierarch. Probably need to Ice-Fang to block, but they just have the Lava Dart. Yeah, they just have the Lava Dart. We need to hope that they have a bad hand, which is unlikely, with 4 cards. Still game 3 to win. I scooped to a Manamorphose yesterday, just like Manamorphose before they really showed us that we were dead. It might be the time to do that as well. Okay, yeah, second Manamorphose is lethal with the Dart. How do I feel about Blue Moon splashing black and push for Dreadbore and Drown? I don't feel very good about that, I guess. It's really hard to splash black with no Triome, and Splashing in color just is much worse with your Blood Moon plan, of course. Bad sequencing, Noble, then Wall. Yeah. But we also only had a forest, so it's not like we can draw anything that punishes us for that, I think. And keep this. Because we can't draw both like a Path to Exile and a white land to cast it. But, you know, it is better to play your card that draws a card first. You are right. Oh yeah, we could do Plains of the Giver. Oh, then I'm wrong. Then I'm wrong. But I might have wanted to play Hierarch anyways. No, I probably wanted to play Giver. Yeah. Maybe a bit of I'm gonna lose this game and I have no outs syndrome. I was probably supposed to fetch main phase to play around light up the stage. Is Vincer too expensive? Yeah, I think it is. Like it is fine to bounce Stormwing Entity, but I think we have better cards to be playing. They're bolting my Bop. No gut shot, please. No gut shot, please. Thank goodness. Good solid 2-for-1. And we can Eladamri's Call for Auriok Champion here and play it, which is really, really important in this matchup. We think how I might want to fetch. Don't have a Prairie Stream in the deck. So I think we're just getting Temple Garden. Can't get Sacred Foundry. We also have cut a lot of our red cards. For whatever that's worth. We don't have double blue anymore either, so I think we want another green land. Maybe I was supposed to Eladamri's Call for Omnath. It's kind of possible. Not sure. But yeah, opponent doesn't really have attacks here. Ooze is an interesting card. I probably want to go Eternal Witness, Ephemerate, Eternal Witness, Noble Hierarch, get back Eladamri's Call. Gain 3 life. A relatively healthy 18. We have got blockers for their non-storming entity creatures, so they just get in with entity. We're at 18. I don't think we're dying here. Just going to 15. They do have a light up the stage, revealing Lava Dart and another light up the stage. Well, we can all collectively dry heave. Ugh, so gross. Thank you, Esther. Another Lava Dart and Lightning Bolts. Well, this is bad. I'm going to Ephemerate my wall here. Let's not just make their Lava Dart very free to cast right now. Do get to gain a life off of this, and as well as drawing the card. I need to auto-yield to that. Deputy is interesting. I probably just want to like tutor for Omnath though, right? Gain 8 life or 9 life because we also have the champion. Although we could use the mana from Omnath if we wanted to. Stoneway 11 months, almost 2 years. Thanks for all the content. Can I explain tempo? Still unsure what tempo is, but maybe one day I'll understand. Yeah, so we could go Deputy plus Wall of Omens here if we use the mana. That's probably good, right? That's also, you know, 2 life. Although we can't get a basic Plains. So we'd have to go actually like Deputy Hierarch, which is probably fine. And they have to bolt the Deputy right now in order to get their entity back, which also gains us another life from the champion if they do that. What?
I used heavy cream.
And mine too? Or no?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's not as good as milk.
Did you froth it?
I warmed it up in the microwave because I looked it up and it won't froth on the wand. Because it's
smart for you to look that up first.
Yep. I thought, hey, heavy cream is really thick. Let me see if it'll. Let me look it up and see if I can make it. Use it under the wand. And unless you like.
Why let them scry? Well, the lightning bolt is going to be good anyways, right? So just like making them bolt my deputy instead of my very, very vulnerable face or the Omnath seemed worth it to me. Just get that exchange out of the way. What do you think about the power level of Amulet Titan? It's much stronger than other decks. I don't think so. Amulet Titan even got a nerf. They are vapor snagging my champion. Amulet Titan also did get a nerf with the Field of the Dead ban. Seems fine to me. Double Lava Dart in Exile is so scary. We are at 22 life. I'm gonna block like this. Amulet's definitely one of the better decks in the format, but I don't think that it's too good. At least at the time of making this comment. There are like lots of good sideboard cards that are good against Amulet. Yeah, and Titan is very soft to this deck that we're playing against right now, for sure. Titan has always been one of those decks that has like polarizing matchups. They lost this start, which is nice. Probably just gonna go Ooze and make Ooze a 5/5. Eating Hierarch first. I guess we just have to eat every non-Omnath creature. Maybe it's better to leave Deputy in. Oh, I didn't see the Wall of Omens at first. Okay. We're in a pretty healthy position here, I think. I saw the blue and I thought this was another Vapor Snag, which would have been bad. Second Stormwing. Yeah, Ooze has been good so far. You could maybe see main decking the Ooze.
Is it hot to you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yep.
See, whenever it wasn't snowing, you're like, oh, it's so hot in here. And now it's snowing.
I'm balanced out, yeah.
It's actually hot. You're just like, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm balanced out now. Finally. Well, only 2 more creatures to eat with Ooze. We do have a pretty healthy attack with it here, I think. For 9. We could die to 2 Stormwing entities, but it's not very likely with them only having 1 card in their hand. How many? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, eating 1 creature with Ooze here, or sorry, 1 spell with Ooze is not going to be relevant to stop Bedlam Reveler, so I'm not going to activate the Ooze here. They're also dead to Auriok Champion attacking next turn, if they attack with the Stormwing entities this turn. Auriok Champion or Forge-Tender, because we have 2 Exalteds. Don't forget about Yorion. I haven't, but I don't think that. I think that this has been. I think we've taken better lines than Yorion so far. Down to 15. We'll see if they see the attack with a pro-red creature line. I guess they could have another copy of Vapor Snag. But they don't. We went 4-1 with 80 card SOULRIDER. This is again just one of my favorite decks to play, and I think it's really powerful. It's probably not super well positioned against. I think this deck is good against the black based prowess decks, but not as good against like the Lava Dart ones, of course, because it's a Mana Dork deck. You know, we have game against it. You know, we went 1-1 against the Swift Spear variants, we were 3-1 against Swift Spear decks this league. Ooh, Vornklex. I really like this art. I think it's awesome. We're 3-1, losing to Mono Red Prowess with Bedlam Revelers, beating Blue Red Prowess with Sprite Dragons and Stormwings. And honestly, like, the flying is a really big problem for us. The fact that we can't Skyclave Stormwing Entity is a big problem for this deck. But you definitely have game against it. And I really, really like this deck. I think it's a ton of fun. And potentially very good and something to keep your eye on in the metagame, especially if the Swiftspear decks, for some reason, fall out of favor, but I don't really anticipate that being the case. But I do want to, just keep...